everyone. So today's video is about making ham as a deli meat. It's part of this channel's series on gluten-free and vegan deli meats. However, this recipe today is completely different from the others, both in how it's prepared and the ingredients that I'm using. So the other deli meats that I've made so far are made using the split yellow beans or the mung dal beans, and also hemp seeds. Now, I received a lot of comments and questions about substituting hemp seeds due to their high cost as well as lack of availability, particularly those of you coming from South America. So in today's video, I want you to know I actually did some exploration of some videos coming from South America, looking at how others are creating deli meats. And so today's recipe is going to not be using hemp seeds, not be using the mung dal, but instead be using cashew nuts. So today's video and the recipe that I'm going to show you is inspired by a channel called Living Like a Panda. I believe they're out of Brazil, but they make a mortadella lunch meat. And so I followed their general recipe, but then modified it to make it a ham version. So I think you'll find this recipe much more economical as far as not having to buy the hemp seeds. And secondly, I think easier because it involves less steps and less cooking. However, what I want to emphasize is the other recipes thus far in the deli meat series are super high in nutritional value given the hemp seeds and the mung dal, the split yellow lentils. Not that today's recipe isn't healthy. It does contain cashew nuts, which have their own benefits. It just doesn't have that superfood content from the hemp seeds and the mung dal. Oh, and for those of you who are allergic to nuts like cashew nuts, I have you covered here. I'm just going to have you substitute with sunflower seeds, and I'll talk about that when I show you how to make this recipe. Another thing I want to say before we get on to making the recipe is that this particular deli meat should not really be heated in the oven. It will actually melt, and I'll explain why along the way. I'll show you what happens when I put it in a pan, because I'm anticipating some of you will want to know, can you fry it up in a pan? Not really. I mean, you can, but I'll tell you why I don't like that option. But another note I want to make is the holidays are coming up, so I am planning on making a ham roast, which will be capable of not only baking, but hopefully frying in a pan and serving as a roast for your holiday meals. So I'll move on to showing you how to make the ham. It's a really quick recipe, and I will also then show you how I use it on a baguette to give it a taste test. But secondly, I've been craving a Hawaiian macaroni salad with ham. I think I mentioned that earlier in a previous video. So I'm making that today, and I'll show you how to make it and how to use the ham in that macaroni salad. Start by soaking 1 1/2 cups of raw cashews overnight in enough water to cover them, and then the next morning you want to drain them and rinse them. You can use unsalted sunflower seeds, just make sure to soak and drain them. Place the soaked and rinsed nuts or seeds in a high-speed blender. To that, add 7 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 1/2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 1/2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and 1/2 teaspoon of white pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, 1/2 teaspoon of coriander, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 1 1/2 tablespoons of liquid smoke, 1 1/2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 1/2 teaspoon of mustard powder. To a saucepan, I then added 1 1/4 cup of vegetable broth and 1 1/4 cup of water. In the written recipe, I convert these to metric. I then add 3 tablespoons of agar powder. This is going to allow the deli meat to gel. And after adding that, then I whisk everything together. I turn it on medium heat and bring it to a slow simmer. And after it starts simmering, continue to stir and allow it to thicken for about 3 minutes or maybe 3 to 5 minutes. I partially blended the ingredients in the blender, and then I added 1/2 teaspoon of beetroot powder to add a pink color. I allowed the agar mixture to cool down slightly, but then after that, I poured it into the ingredients in the blender. You want to allow the agar mixture only to cool maybe for about 2 minutes. If you cool it too long, it will gel up and become firm. I recommend using a blender larger than the one I used. As you see, I have to scrape down the sides, and I'm literally at the capacity of the blender here with my liquids. But I managed to blend everything together, and I recommend occasionally stopping and scraping down the sides so that all the ingredients are well incorporated. After all the ingredients are well blended, you want to take a mold of your choice and grease the inside of that mold, and then pour the ham mixture into that mold. Make sure to scrape out all of that mixture from the blender using a spatula because the mixture does stick to the sides of the blender. Smooth the top of the mixture using your spatula, and then also you just want to gently bump the container on your counter to make sure you get rid of any air bubbles within the container. I then placed some plastic wrap on top of the mixture, but I pressed it flush against the mixture so as to reduce any air coming in contact with the mixture. Basically, this is preventing any condensation from building up. I then sealed the container with the lid and placed it in the refrigerator to cool and set overnight. The next day, I took a butter knife and I ran it along the edges of the ham to loosen it from the container. As you can see, I was able to then flip it out of the container onto my cutting board, and it just formed a nice, smooth block. You can also see that this slices very nicely. You can make it thin or thick, and it's quite a bit gelatinous like a traditional deli ham is. It bends, it folds. This is a large amount for me since I'm the only one eating it. So what I did is cut it into slices. I put those aside to use within the next 2 to 3 days. But then I also cut a block for my macaroni salad. And then I also took the other half and froze it. So I'm going to give the ham a taste test as a sandwich. I'm going to make this basic. If you've ever had a ham sandwich in France at a train station, you know that it's pretty simple. I'm just going to put some butter on here. This is vegan butter, of course. I'll put it on both sides. I think I'll put 2 slices of ham. So let me give this ham sandwich a taste test. So the texture is quite smooth and creamy. The flavor is that of a smoky lunch meat, if you will. It's kind of like a hot dog, kind of like bologna, but also like ham. So you can call it any of those 3 if you like. I'm calling it ham. I wanted to test how this deli meat would warm up in a pan. So I heated some oil in a pan and added a large slice to the pan. I sauteed it for probably about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. As you see, the exterior does crisp up a bit, but what happens is because this is primarily cashews with liquid and the agar mixture, it essentially it becomes warm and almost becomes soft inside, almost like a mushy pureed texture. So it's not suitable for heating in a pan or an oven. I'm going to move on to making the ham and pineapple macaroni salad. So You want to use a macaroni noodle that has corn in it. That's best for making a cold salad. Ones that are purely rice-based end up being brittle and hard when they cool. I'm making 2 to 3 servings, so I'm using 1/3 of this 12-ounce box. I diced about 1 1/2 cups of the ham into small cubes. I grated about 1/2 cup of carrot. I finely diced 1 green onion, both the white part and the green part. I'd say it was about 1/3 cup. I then also diced 1/2 cup of canned pineapple cubes. Then to a large mixing bowl, I added 1/4 cup of the pineapple juice from the can and 3/4 cup of vegan mayo. I'm going to leave a link below to the video where I made a variety of vegan mayos. I also added about 1/4 cup of vegan Greek-style yogurt, about a 1/2 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, about a 1/2 tablespoon of cane sugar, and about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and maybe 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I mixed these dressing ingredients together. And then I folded in all the other ingredients, that is the macaroni, the carrots, the green onions, and the pineapple. I waited to add the ham cubes last because I didn't want them to break apart within the salad. I then covered the macaroni salad with plastic wrap and placed it in the refrigerator to cool for several hours. All right, so now I'm going to taste the Hawaiian pineapple macaroni salad with ham. Here it is. As you can see, it has nice big ham chunks here. You can see the carrots, and it's got pineapple. And you can see the carrots, but I don't see the green onions. But, oh well, let's give it a taste. I'm going to get, I got a piece with ham. It's refreshing. It's got a lot of flavors going on with the pineapple, and then the creaminess of the mayonnaise, and then the ham. This shines through as ham within this macaroni salad. It's quite good. So I'm going to eat my lunch. I'm going to have the macaroni salad and the rest of this sandwich, and then I'll follow up with you at the end. So I enjoyed my lunch break. And I enjoyed the ham. It's really delicious. I think you're going to enjoy making this. And what I'll do is at the end, well, it's about to end soon, but I'll leave a link to recipes for the vegan mayo that I made. I made 4 types, and you can try any of those in the macaroni salad or even with your ham sandwich. I think the cashew one would be really good. However, you're eating ham made from cashews and then having a cashew mayo. If you love cashews, that's the way to go. But again, thanks so much. And let me know in the comments if you do try this. Let me know if you have any questions. And check out the next videos. Like I said, one is for the mayonnaise, and I'll leave a surprise video. But see you later.